Hello, welcome back to Daily Bread, day 149. We'll be in the Scriptures 2009 version. We'll be reading in Deuteronomy chapter 8, Isaiah chapter 9, Psalms 147, Proverbs 29, and 1 Corinthians chapter 2. Deuteronomy chapter 8 on page 195. Guard to do every command which I command you today, that you might live and shall increase and go in and shall possess the land of which Yahweh swore to your fathers. And you shall remember that Yahweh your Elohim led you all the way these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble you, prove you, to know what is in your heart, whether you guard his commands or not. And he humbled you and let you suffer hunger, and fed you with manna which you did not know, nor did your fathers know, to make you know that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of Yahweh. Your garments did not wear out on you, nor did your foot swell these 40 years. Thus you shall know in your heart that as a man disciplines his son, so Yahweh your Elohim disciplines you. Therefore you shall guard the commands of Yahweh your Elohim, to walk in his ways and to fear him. For Yahweh your Elohim is bringing you into a good land, a land of streams of water, of fountains and springs that flow out of the valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley, of vines and fig trees and pomegranates, a land of olive oil and honey, a land in which you eat bread without scarcity, in which you do not lack at all, a land whose stones are iron, and out of those hills you dig copper. And you shall eat and be satisfied, and shall bless Yahweh your Elohim for the good land which he has given you. Be on guard, lest you forget Yahweh your Elohim by not guarding his commands and his right rulings and his laws which I command you today, lest you eat and shall be satisfied, and build lovely houses and shall dwell in them, and your herds and your flocks increase, and your silver and your gold are increased, and all that you have is increased, that your heart then becomes lifted up, and you forget Yahweh your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mizraim, from the house of bondage, who led you through that great and awesome wilderness, fiery serpents and scorpions and thirst, where there was no water, who brought water for you out of the flinty rock, who fed you in the wilderness with manna, which your fathers did not know, in order to humble you and to try you, to do you good in the end. You then shall stay in my heart. My power and the strength of my hand have made for me this wealth. But you shall remember Yahweh your Elohim, for it is he who gives you power to get wealth, to establish his covenant, which he swore to your fathers, as it is today. And it shall be, if you by any means forget Yahweh your Elohim, and follow other mighty ones, and serve them, and bow yourself to them, I have warned you this day that you shall I have warned you this day that you shall certainly perish. Like the nations which Yahweh destroying before you, you are to perish, because you did not obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim. Isaiah 9 on page 420. But there is no gloom upon her who is distressed, as when at first he humbled her. He humbled the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, and afterwards more heavily oppressed her by the way of the sea, beyond the Jordan, in Galilee of nations. The people who were walking in darkness, having seen a great light, upon those who dwell in the land of the shadow of death, a light has shone. You shall increase the nation, you shall make its joy great. They shall rejoice before you, as in the joy of harvest, as men rejoice when you divide the spoil. For you shall break the yoke of this burden, and staff of his shoulder, the rod of his oppressor, as in the day of Midian. For every boot of one trampling in Talmud, and coat rolled in blood, shall be used for burning and fuel for fire. For a child, capital C, is born unto us, a son is given unto us, and the rule is on his shoulder, and his and name, both capitalized, is called Wonder, Counselor, Strong, L, Father of Continuity, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his rule and peace there is no end upon the throne of David, and over his reign, to establish it and sustain it with right ruling and with righteousness from now on, even forever. These adore of Yahweh of hosts does this. Yahweh sent a word against Jacob, and it has fallen on Israel. And the people shall know, all of them, Ephraim and the inhabitants of Samaria, who say in pride and greatness of heart, the bricks have fallen down, but we rebuild. With hewn stones and sycamores are cut down, but we replace them with cedars. And Yahweh set up the adversaries of Rezin against him, and shall stir up his enemies. The Arameans before, and the Philistines behind. And they devoured Israel with an open mouth, with all his displeasure, has not turned back, and his hand is still stretched out. And the people have not turned back to him who strike them, nor have they sought Yahweh of hosts. And Yahweh cuts off head and tail from Israel, palm branch and reed in one day. Elder and highly respected, he is the head. Elder and highly respected, he is the head. The prophet who teaches falsehood, he is the tail. For the leaders of this people lead them astray, and those who are guided by them are swallowed up. Therefore Yahweh does not rejoice over their young men, and has no compassion on their fatherless and widows. For every one is defiled and evil, and every mouth speaks foolishness. With all his displeasure has not turned back, and his hand is still stretched out. For wrongness burns as fire, it consumes thorn bushes and weeds, and sets the bushes of the forest ablaze, and they roll up like rising smoke. The land shall be burned up by the wrath of Yahweh of hosts, and the people be as fuel for the fire. A man shall not spare his brother, and cut down on the right hand, but shall be hungry, and he devours on the left hand. but shall not be satisfied, each one devouring the flesh of his own arm. Manasseh, Ephraim, and Manasseh, together they are against Judea, with all his displeasure has not turned back, and his hand is still stretched out. Psalms 147 on page 728. Praise Yah, for it is good to sing praises to our Elohim. For it is pleasant, praise is fitting. Yahweh builds up Jerusalem. He gathers the outcasts of Israel. He heals the brokenhearted. He binds up their words. He appoints the number of the stars. He gives names to all of them. Great is our master and mighty in power. There is no limit. He is understanding. Yahweh lifts up the meek ones. He throws the wrong ones down to the ground. And he throws them to the ground. Respond to Yahweh with thanksgiving. Sing praise on the lyre to our Elohim, who covers the heavens with clouds, who prepares rain for the earth, who makes grass to sprout on the mountains. Give to the beast its food, to the young ravens that cry. He hears. 10. He does not delight in the strength of a horse. He takes no pleasure in the legs of a man. Yahweh takes pleasure in those who fear him, in those who wait for his loving commitment. Extol Yahweh, O Jerusalem. Praise your Elohim, O Zion, for he has strengthened the bars of your gates. He has blessed your children in your midst, who makes peace in your borders. 13. For he has strengthened the bars of your gates. He has blessed your children in your midst. 14. Who makes peace in your borders? He satisfies you with the finest wheat. Who sends out his command to the earth? His word runs very speedily. Who gives snow like wool? He scatters the frost like ashes, throwing out his hail like pieces. Who does not stand before his cold? He sends out his word and melts them. He causes his wind to blow, the waters flow, declaring his word to Jacob, his laws and his right ruling to Israel. He has not done so with any nation, and they have not known his right rulings. Praise Yah. Proverbs 29. One often reproved, hardening his neck, on page 755, 29. One often reproved, hardening his neck, is suddenly broken, and there is no healing. When the righteous increase, the people rejoice, but when the wrong ones rule, the people sigh. He who loves wisdom gladdens his father, but a companion of whores destroys wealth. A sovereign establishes a land by right ruling, but one who receives bribes throws it down. A man who flatters his neighbor spreads a net for his own feet. An evil man is ensnared by transgression, but the righteous sings and rejoices. The righteous knows the plea of the poor. The wrong does not understand such knowledge. Scoffers, verse 8. Scoffers ensnare a city, but the wise turn away wrath. When a wise man disputes with a foolish man, whether he rages or laughs, there is no peace. Bloodthirsty men hate the perfect and seek the life of the straight. A fool lets out all his breath, but the wise, keeping it back, calms it down. If a ruler listens to lying words, all his servants become wrong. The poor man and the oppressor have this in common. Verse 10, 29:10. Bloodthirsty men hate the perfect and seek the life of the straight. A fool lets out all his breath, but the wise, keeping it back, calms it down. If a ruler listens to lying words, all his servants become wrong. The poor man and the oppressor have this in common. Yahweh gives light to the eyes of both. The sovereign who rightly rules the poor with truth, his throne is established forever. A rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child unrestrained brings shame to his mother. When the wrong become many, transgression increases, but the righteous look on their fall. Discipline your son, and he brings you rest and delight in your life. Where there is no vision, the people are let loose. But blessed is he who guards the Torah. A servant is not disciplined by words. Though he understands, he does not respond. Have you seen a man hasty in his words? There is more expectancy for a fool than for him. He who deals tenderly with his servant from youth, he has him as a son at the end. A man of displeasure stirs up strife, and a master of rage has many of transgression. The pride of man brings him low, but the humble of spirit obtains esteem. He who shares with a thief hates his own life. He hears an oath, but does not report. The fear of man brings apart. The pride of a man brings him low, but the humble in spirit obtains esteem. He who shares with a thief hates his own life. He hears an oath, but does not report. The fear of man brings a snare, but whoever trusts in Yahweh is set on high. Many seek the face of a ruler, but right ruling for man comes from Yahweh. An unrighteous man is an abomination to the righteous. He who is straight in the way is an abomination to the wrong. Corinthians chapter 2 on page 1107. And when I came to you, brothers, I did not come with excellence of speech or wisdom, proclaiming to you the witness of Elohim. For I resolved not to know any matter among you except Yeshua Messiah and him impaled. And I was with you in weakness and in fear and in much trembling. And my word and my preaching were not with persuasive words of man's wisdom, but a demonstration of the Spirit and of power, in order that your belief should not be in the wisdom of men, but in the power of Elohim. Yet we speak wisdom among those who are perfect, and not the wisdom of this age, nor of the rulers of this age that are being brought to naught. But we speak the wisdom of Elohim, which was hidden in a secret, and which Elohim ordained before the ages of our esteem, which no one of the rulers of this age knew. For if they had known, they would have not impaled the Messiah of esteem. But as it is written, eye has not seen, an ear has not heard, nor have entered into the heart of a man, what Elohim has prepared for those who love him. Isaiah 64:4. But Elohim has revealed them to us through his Spirit. For the Spirit searches all matters, even the depths of Elohim. For who among men knows the thoughts of a man except the spirit of the man that is in him? So also the thoughts of Elohim no one has known except the spirit of Elohim. And we have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit that is from Elohim, in order to know Sorry, lost my place there. 12. And we received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit of the that is from Elohim, in order to know that Elohim has favorably given us what Elohim has favorably given us, which we also speak, not in words which man's wisdom teaches, but which the set apart Spirit teaches, comparing spiritual matters with spiritual matters. But the natural man does not receive the matters of the Spirit of Elohim, for they are foolishness to him, and he is unable to know them, because they are spiritually discerned. But he who is spiritual discerns indeed all matters, but he himself is discerned by no one. For who has known the mind of Yahweh? Who shall instruct him? But he who is 15. Last two verses here. But he who is spiritual discerns indeed all matters, but he himself is discerned by no one. For who has known the mind of Yahweh? Who shall instruct him? Isaiah 40:13. But we have the mind of Messiah. Thank you for listening and for indulging my spacing. Shalom. Make it a great day. Read your Bible. Talk to the Father.